Hello, everyone. First, I would like to thank you for your interest in Chinese Wushu Bingdao, and welcome to join the Wushu Bingdao training class. Let's introduce myself first. My name is Chunwei, and I'm from Duke Kunshan University, China. I'm appointed by the Chinese Wushu Management Center as a lecturer for this Bingdao training session. I'm mainly responsible for the theoretical introduction of the Wushu Bingdao, as well as the translation of the entire content. Next, we will learn and understand Wushu Bingdao together, a model sport with a long history and a novel form. Like the last page, in order to help you fully understand Wushu Bingdao, we will start this study with an introduction of Chinese Wushu. And then I will introduce the other three parts in turn, including the myths of Wushu Bingdao, the future development, and the competition's rulers. The first three parts maybe take 15 minutes in total, and the rulers part will be introduced about 1 hour. Through this study, we hope to help you achieve a basic understanding of Chinese Wushu Bingdao in order to facilitate your further study and participation in the future. The chapter 1, Introduction to Chinese Wushu. In fact, if you would like to deepen your knowledge of Chinese Wushu, a lot of relevant information can be found on a website or other channels. Therefore, here I mainly make some necessary explanations around the upcoming study so that some students who are learning Chinese Wushu for the first time can have a basic concept of Wushu. Of course, Chinese Wushu have a good reputations in the world. When talking about Kung Fu or Wushu, most people can chat a few words, such as Bruce Lee, Jack Chan, and others. But to understand Chinese Wushu from a more professional perspective, we need to understand some of its origins and its core values and something. By this way, we can get to know real Chinese Wushu, not just the great Wushu movies. Okay, let's have a look at the origin of Chinese Wushu. First, we can see the Chinese Wushu can be traced back to Shang Dynasty 3,000 years ago. Wushu was mainly used in the military at the beginning and gradually developed to the whole society. Although Wushu are usually traced back to a primitive society and regard primitive fighting as Wushu, but they are only considered Wushu after a third strategy, concept, and technical system have been formed. That is to say, if someone tells you, I'm good at fighting, but you can't just think that he knows Chinese Wushu, because the fighting is not equal to Chinese Wushu. Fighting is just the one of the functions of Chinese Wushu. So this is why we must be familiar with the relevant theories, technical systems, and rulers. Okay, let's see the means of Wushu. The correct Wu in Wushu is composed of two Chinese characters, namely 止, which means to stop, and ge, which is an ancient weapon of the war. With that, the essence of the correct Wu is indeed to stop conflict and promote peace. The practice of Wushu not only develops a strong and healthy body, but also a strong mind with high moral values, as its practice focuses on WUDE or martial ethics. Therefore, practice is not just for fighting, it's also for better self-management and self-protection. The real goal of Chinese Wushu is to defend peace. Okay, by this page, we can see the three characteristics of Wushu. It's also the core value of Wushu. This is the reason why Chinese Wushu has many fans in the world. It also stems from his core values. Wushu pay attention to people's excellent character. There is a proverb in Wushu code. Before practice Wushu, cultivate a virtue first. This means that as a Wushu artist, your excellent skills are one aspect. It would be better if you also had a high level of self-cultivation to win the respect of others. Therefore, a good Chinese Wushu artist must know how to respect teachers, respect opponents, be humble and polite, be friendly to others, and be proactive. The second is self-preservation. It also means self-defense. Through long-term development, Chinese Wushu has formed a complete technical system. It's a highly self-protection technology to stop attack. It can improve people's response ability for emergency and enhance people's physical fitness. The third is self-regulation. It also means regulating body and mind. By practice Chinese Wushu, it can help you to improve your ability to stop external violence. It's also repairing your inner cowardice and timidity. This change will be reflected in the softwares, your words and your actions. Let's be more courageous, more confident, and this will further activate your minds. Next, we will enter the camp part of our study. Let us get to know Chinese Wushu Bingdao. Next, let's take a look at the definition of Chinese Wushu Bingdao. From this definition, we will at least understand the following characteristic of Wushu Bingdao. Okay, the first point, Wushu Bingdao, is a model sport that follows a set of rulers. The second point, it uses Wushu weapons as tools. The third point, it's a form of confrontation to show skills and achieve results. It can be individual competition or team competition. Fourth point, Wushu Bingdao inherits the spirit, etiquette, and technology of Chinese Wushu. Okay, the fifth point, Wushu Bingdao is the third Wushu competition project launched by the Chinese Wushu Management Center. Yes, the previous two routines, which are mainly in the form of showing Wushu movements, and the Wushu SANDA, which is mainly in the form of fighting. Yes, Wushu Bingdao is currently the third type of competition. Okay, let's see the classification of Bingdao. Wushu Bingdao is a general term for fighting with weapons. It contains multiple categories, including short weapons, long weapons, so soft weapons, and hidden weapons, and so on. They are different. At present, Wushu short weapon are the first to realize the transformation to model sports, which is also the main content of our study this time. Yes, you can have a look about this pictures. As we described earlier, Wushu short weapon mainly adopt the principles of technical methods of Chinese Wushu short weapons, such as Chinese knives and swords. In ancient China, short Wushu weapons were commonly used as fighting weapons and developing a high level of skill. These techniques have been transformed into model sport in Wushu short weapons and transformed it into model competition according to the principle of easy to learn, easy to practice, easy to promote, and easy to judge. Is from this picture, we can see how to practice just a little. Next, let's take a look at the characteristics of Wushu Bingdao. Okay, let's see the first, it's safety. We can say the safety is the life of model combat sports. And the safety of athletes comes first. In this side, Wushu short weapon has adopted a series of measures. The first is to focus on the overall protection of people in the design of protective gear and weapons, and to use a new material technology in the manufacturing of protective gear and weapons to avoid injury to athletes. Secondly, in the rural market, pay attention to the protection of athletes' safety. It's forbidden to hit important parts such as the back of the head, throat, and the crotch. The third, all technical content and the competition methods have been tested, repeated, so that traditional Wushu skills can be reasonably displayed through model sports. First, it's also the key difference between Wushu and other combat sports. By using short weapons in Wushu to fight, it advocates more skills than strength, which protects the participants' personal feelings. Yes, the second one of characteristics is fun. First of all, Wushu short weapon inherit the skills of Chinese Wushu and have rich technical content. Learning Chinese Wushu Bingdao can help learners to master Wushu skills. The second is that fighting with weapons reduce direct physical contact and enables more skills to be applied, which make short weapons inherently attractive. The third is in modernization process of Wushu short weapon. The rulers and techniques are easy to understand, which makes it easy for learners to get started and improve. Okay, let's see. The third is watchable. Its appreciation is mainly reflected in technology and the competition system. Chinese Wushu has a variety of techniques. In terms of offensive techniques, attackers can attack in any position, such as vertical side, horizontal side, or oblique side. And the defenders also need to present a variety of defensive techniques. Secondly, the Wushu Bingdao competition adopts a single game and adopts a point reduction system. For example, in a single player game, everyone has 20 points when entering the field. When you lose all 20 points, it means your opponent has won and the game is over. So this increases the intensity of the game. At the same time, it also pays attention to the continuity of the game, especially in the team competition. Different confrontation is allowed. For example, for the same 3 players, you can arrange the order of appearance according to your estimation. This makes the game unpredictable. The fourth aspect is cultural. Wushu Bingdao is a part of Chinese Wushu, inherited Chinese culture. Emphasize on morality, benevolence, righteousness, propriety. At the same time, etiquette runs through the whole game, such as maintaining mutual respect, maintaining a positive attitude, and focusing on fair competition. This is in line with the Olympic spirit of mutual understanding, long-lasting friendship, the solidarity, and the fair competition. The fifth aspect is practicality. Through the practice of Wushu warfare, on the one hand, it can improve physical fitness through comprehensive technical exercise and high-intensity competitions. On the other hand, it's to improve the individual's self-defense ability through the practice of offensive and defensive techniques. The sixth aspect of Wushu is to focus on fairness. First of all, anyone can participate in Wushu Bingdao, which does not require a high threshold. The second is to pay attention to maintaining the fairness of the game in the rulers. This will be presented in subsequent ruler learning. Let's take a look at the future development of Wushu Bingdao. Wushu short weapon is the one of the contents of Chinese Wushu. Therefore, we need to understand Wushu short weapon from the perspective of the overall development of Chinese Wushu. So let's have a look. Currently, the version of Wushu is make Wushu an Olympic sport and a healthy way of life for people around the globe. It embodies two directions. One is to bring Wushu to the stage of the Olympic Games. And the other is to pass on the health lifestyle of Wushu to people all over the world. After decades of development, Chinese Wushu has achieved a relatively good development situation. As the president of the International Wushu Federation for Achievements of the IWF, he said the IWF has developed into an international sports organization with 155 member associations across 5 continents. Wushu has successfully entered the Young Olympic Games, the World University Games, and the World Games and other comprehensive sport competitions. The headquarters of the International Wushu Federation moved to Lausanne, Switzerland, the Olympic capital, and the international popularity and influence of Wushu has been continuously improved. So currently, IWF is continue to work on the realization of the Wushu development vision. It's as we know, Wushu Bingdao is the third model competitive event promoted by the Chinese Wushu Management Center. Its goal is to follow the overall goal of Chinese Wushu, become an Olympic project, and let people all over the world enjoy the benefits of Wushu Bingdao. On the one hand, Wushu Bingdao is built on a long history and culture. On the other hand, its modernization and standardization process is rigorous and scientific. From the original scientific argument to the founding of the national team, then to continuously optimize the rulers, and now international promotion, every step of development is in continuous improvement. It's as we know, currently at the IOC Executive Committee meeting in Lausanne, Switzerland in January 2020, Wushu become an official event of the fourth Young Olympic Games. Make Wushu Bingdao from Chinese culture to world culture. Make the Wushu Bingdao from traditional Chinese events into Olympic events. Make Wushu Bingdao from the part-time Wushu sports to professional development sports. Wushu Bingdao will revolve around the mission of Wushu, further play the role of connection, spread the value of respect, excellence, and friendship, and contribute to the construction of a community of shared future for market. Further, share the value of spread of Chinese Wushu and promote the health support of Wushu to the world. Yes, we can say one goal, one dream. At present, Chinese Wushu has formed a scientific theoretical system, a technical system, and a competition system. With the continuous increase of its learners and the ever-expanding scope of development and dissemination, based on the development platform of the International Wushu Federation and the platform of the Olympic Games, we believe Chinese Wushu Bingdao will develop into a world-class model combat sport. Above is about the development of Wushu Bingdao. I will explain the rollers part of Wushu Bingdao. As you know, for every sport, the rollers are its foundation. We can even say that the rollers are the life of model sports. Wushu is a fighting sport with weapons. It's also like this. We need to understand its rollers in order to really understand the Wushu Bingdao movement. What we need to know is what requirements do we follow in Wushu Bingdao? What is his techniques? How to score? Which are the force? How do referees work? The rulers section will consist of 9 chapters. Next, we will start learning section by section. But in view of the time, the explanation is mainly some key points. Next, let's come to the first chapter, clothing and etiquette. First, let's take a look at the clothing requirements. As we know, special clothing is the symbol of a sport. Wushu Bingdao has specific requirements for the clothing of athletes, coaches, and referees. Therefore, athletes, coaches, and referees must dress according to the requirements. What needs to be explained here? By wearing specialized clothing, it helps to enhance the professional development of Bingdao and also helps to identify. In addition, it should be noted that the Wushu Bingdao project requires all clothing, equipment, and venue equipment to be certified by the official department. This is particularly important. Let's take a look at these three pictures first. Picture 1, picture 2, and picture 3. Left picture, this is athlete's non-competition clothing. Another picture from a game. We can see the reference clothing from it. We can also see the athletes in armor. Through these two pictures, we can identify the difference in clothing. Next, we can look at the description in the rulers. Okay, I will not read it loud here. There are just a few key points that should be noted. Referee clothing in formal occasions such as competitions and training etiquette. Referees must wear designated clothing. Regarding the referee's tools and clothing, there are also clear instructions here. Okay, let's take a look at the requirements on the athlete side. Athletes need to wear armor during competition, as we have seen above. In addition, the fourth point needs our attention. If an athlete does not dress according to the requirements, his game will be affected. In addition, there are some other detailed requirements, and please pay attention. For example, like fifth point, glasses are not allowed during the game. So, however, soft contact lenses may be worn at your own risk. So, just like this, please familiar with this. Okay. From this page, we can see two athletes are competing fiercely. In this process, their armor is very important. Without armor, they will be easily injured. At the same time, we can also see the armor requirements more clearly. It protects a very critical part. The protective gear you can see from head to legs. The following is about the coach's clothing. There is no requirement for coaches to wear a Bingdao, Wushu Bingdao clothing here. However, coaches are required to wear sportswear or formal attire. In addition, we need to pay attention to the fourth point. Referees, athletes, and coaches must dress following the above regulations. If they are not dressed following the rulers, they will be limited to 1 minute to change their clothes. Otherwise, they will be disqualified from the game. Overall, the clothing requirements ensure the project's safety. In addition, it is also the need for brand building and promotion. Next, let me introduce another important content, etiquette. The first principle of etiquette, it will run through the whole process of the game. In addition, we also need to know that etiquette includes holding a fist salute and holding a weapons salute. about how to load, there will be a description to explain it later. So I won't go into details here. What needs to noted here is the order of salutation. This is what we need to remember. The order of saluting also reflects the attitude of the project. We should respect the audience, reference, coaches, and all related peoples. In addition, we must follow the basic etiquette requirements during the competition. When a change reference and a chief referee, and when athletes are punished, all need a salute. Also, at the end of the game, you need to follow the basic procedure to salute. Please see the description on this page. Certainly, you may find it complicated at first, but this process needs to be familiar with many times. After you practice several times, you will find this process it's simple. Next is the second part. I will introduce the requirements for the fielder, armor, and the weapon. Of course, this is also the basis of this project. First, let's take a look at the venue. Let's start by looking at the pictures of the venue. The auditorium is at the top of the photograph, usually around the playing field. Okay. Then there is the restroom, respectively. Next is the reference seat. Here is the scores table. Its square pictures its entire playing field. Among them, the surrounding red area is a sideline. You can see the red area. It's the sideline and the safety area. The blue area is the playing field for the athletes. In addition, we can also see the 3 red blocks in the middle of the field, among which the left and right are for the athletes of both sides. And the rectangular red area is for the chief referee. Let's see the side. The middle seats on the sides are for coaches. Here, left and right. In addition, we can also see here is a referee, side referee number 1, side referee number 2, and the side referee number 3. And here is the supervising referee, just for supervising the venue. In addition, displays are often placed on the surrounding seat. You can see here and here. The seat closing to the fielder are the waiting seat for the athletes. Let's see the below a line near the field. So through this picture, we can roughly understand the layout of the Wushu Bingdao venue. Okay. Next, let's take a look at the description in the rollers. Here, we need to know the numbers. Okay, we can see this mat is 11 meters by 11 meters, but only 9 meters by 9 meters of it is the competition area. Just okay, the blue area is for competition, and the surrounding 2 meters are the safety area. Okay, 2 meters. Okay, we already know the venue's layout through last picture, but there are also some detailed requirements. You can take another look. Now we go to the next page. So about the details, please familiar with. Okay, we already introduced. After understanding the venue, let's take a look at the protective gear and weapon. The protective gear is relatively simple, including head guarding, armor, head guarding. It is also made Bingdao gloves, crotch, and the arm guarding, leg, and Bingdao shoes. So if the protective equipment you use is officially certified, it will have a self function. So I won't introduce it in detail here. About the weapon, there is the clear requirement here that is to use officially certified brands. This is related to the fairness and safety of the game. Therefore, non-certified weapons are not allowed to be used. So from here, we can see the detailed requirements for weapons, including many detailed figures. Since there are clear standards, so we will not learning them here, and you can understand them by yourself. Okay, from here we can see the appearance of Wushu short weapon, like a sword, but there is no blade, and it is wrapped in soft material. Yes, so it is safety. Okay, another photograph is from a game of Chinese Wushu Bingdao. Okay, let's move to next. This one is the corresponding detailed stand, so we can see what weapons should be chosen for different edges, different weights, and different guidance. Okay, we just follow this table, but you don't need to remember it. If you need, you can find it easy. Next, we will enter the third chapter. Through the study of this chapter, we will be able to understand the game method, game time, and the organization of the competition. Let's say Article 5. It's the competition method and time. In terms of the form, usually it's divided into individual competitions and team competitions. First, let's look at individual games. It adopts the single elimination system. Yes, I will introduce what is the single elimination system later. From here, we can see that each game for adults is 4 minutes, and the game for teenagers can be adjusted to from 2 to 3 minutes. You can ask for a timeout during each game, but no timeouts will be granted for the last 30 seconds. Okay, also you can see the details from this page. The next one is the rulers of the team competition. Each team can consist of 3 or 5 players in team games, but only 3 players can play. Yes, it should be noted here. Yes, there is no detailed weight classification for team members. It also means you can freely average players of different weights, but you must meet the following weight requirements. Here, we need to pay attention. The weight requirements for the team competition is the total weight of the participating players. That is, the total weight of the 3 participating players must be lower than a stand in the table. For example, the total weight of 3 male ordered team members cannot exceed 2010 kilogram. Also, before starting the game, the coach must determine the order in which the players will play. The order can't be changed after the order form is submitted. In the team competition, each player's playing time is 3 minutes. And each team is allowed 1 timeout throughout the game. Okay. We also need to pay attention to point 4. If the game enters overtime, players in overtime can only be selected from the 3 players who played before. So others is not allowed. In overtime, the game time is 2 minutes. It uses the gold points system. The gold point system method here it means the first player to score a point wins immediately, and the game is over. So who can score 1 point will be win. Above, I introduced a few points about the game method and game time. There are still a few technical terms that we need to be familiar with. So the first is about attire, which means that they are tied at the end of the game, requiring for the overtime to determine the outcome. Regarding the gold point system, we have already introduced in above, so I will not repeat here. There is another situation at the end of 2 minutes of extra time, but still no winner was decided. At this time, the side referee will vote to decide the winner based on the performance of athletes. So from this description, we can see the judgment is based on the offensive and defensive system the athletes showed during the overtime period, the number of technical movements used, the number of complex techniques used, and the standardization of adequate. Okay, let's move to next. There are 2 important points that we need to know. Let's understand the point reduction system first. It's like a duel in ancient times. In individual competitions, each athlete enters with 20 points. Each successful score will result in the opponent's player being deducted points until one player's points are deducted or game time is over. This method is more like the setting in some online games today. It improves the enjoyment of the game. In the team competition, only 3 athletes from both sides are allowed to play. Each athlete has 12 points when they come on the field. The opponent's score is deducted, or the score is more than opponent at the end of the game. It's counted as winning a round in a total of 3 rounds. Next is the time part. This is the recorder's job. So we need to know the above mentioned is the net play time. That is, interruption of the game for any reason is not counted. The clock will only be counted when the chief referee announces the start. Once the chief referee announces a stop, the timing needs to be stopped. Also, when there are 30 seconds left in the game, the timekeeper needs to give a clear reminder signal, such as a bell or a buzzer. Another thing needs to note: if athletes need to change the color of the protective gear between 2 rounds, they will be able to get an additional 5 minutes of rest. Okay, next, we need to know the requirements of the participating athletes. The first is the requirements for different age groups. Regarding the age requirement of 18 to 40 years old, it's mainly determined according to the intensity of the Wushu Bingdao competition. It is a consideration for the health and the safety of athletes. In addition, specific age requirements are also set in other age groups, so we can take a look. Just to say from 1 to 4 points. Another concern is eligibility of athletes. We can take a look. Here are some eligibility requirements. It mainly includes 3 points. The first point is that athletes must be validly registered. Generally, the local official agency will be responsible for such registration. The second point is that athletes need to have insurance. Yes, sometimes some competition organizer also provide insurance for athletes. It's the same as any other sports game. The third point is to do a health check. Only those who are in good health can participate in the competition. Yes, we can look at these requirements. Okay, just to see the qualification review. Let's move to next. Okay. Here you can see just some requirements regarding weight classification. We just need to see these requirements are in the rulers, so you can check it anytime. Okay, just to have a look. These are of different ages of genders. Okay, next, let's see how to win. Here, you can take a look at these detailed requirements. Yes, you can see this is the standardized process because competitions are usually classified according to the weight. So the standardized and scientific winning process also maintains the fairness of the competition. Okay, on this page, okay, we just look at the lottery method. Here are few requirements we need to know. We join lots, the coach and the team leader of the sports team, the chief referee and the chief referee of the arbitration group must participate. The draw will start with small weight classes. And if there is only one person in a class, the round will be canceled and the athlete will be allowed to move on to next round. Coaches or team leaders will draw lots for their athletes. Next, I will explain the fourth chapter. This section is about technical officers. From here, we can know the composition of the competition referees group and the responsibilities of each referee. So because there is more content in this part, therefore, we mainly introduce some key content. Okay, first, let's look at Article 8. The article introduces the powers and the responsibilities of technical representatives. These terms are very detailed and easy to understand. So we can take a look. So this page including 8 points. In fact, in other Wushu projects, there is no technical representative. Wushu Bingdao is making innovation. It's also hoped that by setting up technical representatives, make Bingdao competition more professional. As mentioned in the second and third point here, yes, you can see confirm the competition venue equipment, facilities, operation, safety measures, and so on to ensure that the competition is completed correctly. Supervise and coordinate the work of all technical officers. So you can see the technical representative should confirm such as, yes, there are other terms. So from this, we can also understand that for a game, the technical representative has high power, but also has great responsibilities. So you can have a look. We will move to next page. Okay, let's take a look at the arbitration committee. There are 7 items. Let's have a look first. Point 1, point 2, from 3 to 6. Okay, 7. Yes, we mainly look at its composition and its responsibilities. The arbitration committee shall be composed of a team of from 3 to 5 persons designated by the organizing committee of the Wushu Bingdao. From here, we can see, yes, its main duty is to maintain the fairness of the game and to maintain the justice of the game. Also, to deal with multiple problems in the game, including supervising referees, supervising games, and accepting complaints and handling disputes, and so on. Okay, next, let's take a look at the responsibilities and powers of the head of a referee. Yes, here I need to introduce a difference first. The head of the referee is leading the work of the entire referee team, and not just on the playing field. And the chief referee referred to in this role, it's mainly responsible for judge the game on the field. So it's different. And the chief referee leading the referee team on the field to carry out their work. The work of the head of referee is responsible for it's mainly in following 9 points. Let's have a look. First point and the second point on this page. Okay, this page including from 3 to 9. For example, the chief referee will hold the pre-competition technical meeting, discuss and decide on related issues in the competition, and confirm the participating athletes, and to organize the study of the rulers, and determine the relevant preparations for the competition, and instruct the referees to carry out their work, and so on. Okay, please have a look about these details. Yes, the next is a deputy head of the referee. Okay, totally including 6 points. The responsibility of this ruler are very similar to those of head of the referee. Okay, so mainly to assist the head of referee in his work and support other referees. Here we look at his. Let's have a look about the responsibility of this ruler. Please note the 6 points: to design it, and supervise all the chief referees and side judges of the games played in the venue for which they are responsible. Okay, please have a look. Then we will move to next. Yes, from this page, we will focus on the powers and the responsibilities of the chief referee. Yes, this position is on the field, and it's also very important. This ruler needs to ensure the fairness of the game. At the same time, to ensure the small progress of the game. Okay, there are 6 responsibilities described here. Yes, it's necessary to understand each point clearly. So we can see, we can look the first point, leader the game process, including announce the start, pause, and the end of the game, and announce victory. Second point, determine the extra point for the opening startup. So we already introduced about it before. Third point, declare a fall and correct the missed and the wrong score. And the chief referee, yes, is also responsible for some coordination and reporting work, including convening the side referee to discuss the penalties, explain the basis for judgment in the game, and also supervising on-site athletes, coaches, and other relevant personnel. Okay, let's take a look at the responsibility of the side referees. Totally includes 3 points. The first, the side referee need independent judgment. The second, participate in collegiate discussions. And the 3, need to determine a tire. Yes, here we need to pay attention when the players are still tied in overtime. The outcome of the game is decided by the vote of 3 side referee. So in this page here, it also includes the responsibilities of supervising referees. They need to check clothing, short weapon, protective gear, and so on. The supervising the record of the game time and the extra points for falls. And if the chief referee does not find coach has applied for timeout, the supervising referee will sound a whistle to remind the chief referee. So, in fact, this ruler is to ensure that the game on the site is more standardized. Okay, let's take a look at the responsibilities of a video referee. Okay, the radio referee uses video playback technology to help the referees to make correct judgments. Yes, correct the missed judgment on the side referees for the athlete scoring technique. Below is additional explanation. So please take a look for yourself. Totally, there are 6 points. So please have a look. Okay, next we look at Article 16, errors and recording reference. Please take a look here. What we need to know is orderly, accurate game depends on their work. Okay, let's move to chapter 5. Yes, I will introduce chapter 5. This is also the most important part of the rulers. Through this part of the study, we will learn what are the basic techniques of Wushu Bingdao and how to score, and what circumstance will result in points being deducted, which actions are prohibited. Okay, let's look at the article 17. The first point is the scoring technique. In fact, Wushu have very rich techniques, but from the perspective of development of promotion, overly complex technology will limit the development of the movement. Therefore, the Wushu Bingdao project simplified the basic technique, and after many discussions and tests by Chinese Wushu Bingdao experts, finally, 4 basic technologies were identified. They are string Huashan mounting. Usually we say split vertically. Next, chop slatwise, and slashing horizontally, and trust. The teaching of the technique part will be introduced in detail. So here we need to know, we need to use these techniques to score. Another important is we need to be clear about the type of score, such as 1, 2, and 3 points respectively. This has been clearly described in the rulers. We can see the 1 point including 3 different ways. The 1 point is awarded from hitting the opponent's scoring position. 1 point is awarded if the opponent is warned for 1 time. And also including the start up is directly scored at the beginning. Yes, the chief referee add 1 point to the orange score. Okay. Here, I need to explain the start up score. After hearing the start, you have not made any action yet. When you first attack and score, you will get an extra point, but which will be judged by the chief referee. Next, we look at the requirements for scoring 2 and 3 points. So you can see there are 3 ways to get 2 points. The first, after successful contact defense, and then immediately hit the opponent's scoring position. Yes, score 2 points. The second, use the leaping technique to hit the opponent's scoring position and get 2 points. The third, the opponent is seriously warned for 1 time, gets 2 points. Okay, let's continue to see how to score 3 points. Yes, there is 1 way to get 3 points. That is, we use the turn technique to score. From here, we can see the technical design considerations of Chinese Wushu Bingdao. The first is to encourage the use of diverse movements. This will increase the enjoyment of the game. It can also improve the physical function of the practitioner. At the same time, it encourages defense. And I think defense is as important as offense. This can also improve the practitioner's self-protection ability. Above just the scoring techniques and the types. Let's move to next. Next, let's learn Article 18. Yes, prohibited parts and scoring points. Although Wushu Bingdao requires athletes to wear professional armor, but from safety considerations in the rulers, the protection of some key parts is clarified again, including a back of the head, throat, crotch, heads, and feet. Yes, hitting these parts is prohibited. Let's take a look at the scoring points. Here is a clear description. We can take a look. Yes, head, the entire head except the forbidden part, including the top of the head, face, and both sides, trunk, the front side, back of the torso, and where the shoulders are protected by the protective gear, legs, the part where the protective gear wraps from above the ankle joint to below the knee joint, excluding the knee joint and the ankle joint. So, generally speaking, these scoring points are distributed in the positions that the armor can protect. Okay, let's see the Article 19. Article 19 is also what we need to be familiar with when practice Wushu Bingdao. Okay, first, let's look at the scoring criteria. It's necessary to meet the 4 points. The first is to use standard techniques. Techniques not described in the rulers. It means techniques not described in the rulers is not allowed and also are not scored. The second is have a clear hitting effect. Yes, normally there will be a sound when attack. The third is clear scoring awareness. That is, if instead of scoring with a goal, just a random swing, it's not a score. The fourth ruler is to have a good stat and to reflect the sprint of an athlete. If it's just a negative game, then you will be won. In addition, there are clear requirements for scoring. We can look at these 2 points. In a nutshell, it's to meet the requirements to score. So from this description, we can see after the chief referee issues a pause or game stop comment, even valid technical action cannot be scored. The athlete may even be punished for offending the instruction. Okay, and the second, both athletes are off court. Any technical action cannot be judged as a score. And attacking an athlete who has go out of borders will not score. Of course, any sport has corresponding requirements. The same is true for Wushu Bingdao. Okay, let's look at some further explanation about the how to score. Here, there are a few key points we should be noted. Okay, let's see some specifics like point 2. If both sides hit each other with technical moves at the same time, the corresponding score will be awarded according to their respective technical moves. And let's see the third point. The case where the opponent does not have offensive skill, the athlete uses his or her own active offensive or tentative strikes against the opponent's short weapon are not considered as contact defense. And another important, we can see the fifth. So a successful turning technique must be a reverse turn of 118 or a forward turn of 316 or more. And there must be a close connection between the turn and the attack. And there must be no pause in the middle. Okay, please have a look to familiar with what's requirements for school. Okay. Right now, let's say the startup plus 1 point. This page is all about the introduction of a startup plus 1 point. Yes, we have already done a brief introduction about here. Please take a look at some detailed introductions. To be clear again, this school needs to follow the corresponding criteria. At the same time, he also presents a concept in Wushu culture that is, so don't swing your sword lightly. Once your sword is out, it will be scored. Okay, let's move to next page. What we also need to know is that in some cases, there's no score. There are 6 points listed in the rulers. Yes, some important points we need us to remember. So like yes, like second point, hit the opponent with any part other than the weapon's body, no points will be scored. And also, please noted the please noted the point 4. It's no points will be scored for technical action after going out of borders and falling to the ground. Okay, just like this, please familiar with, because it's a fun basis for Wushu Bingdao. Okay, next about the scoring criteria. Fourth point is the supplementary description of the scoring criteria we have briefly introduced before. Here, we can look at the details again and pay attention to a few key points. Like point 1, the stand starting posture and the stand running track. Yes, at the same time, I also recommend that you can read the content of this again after class. Okay, let's continue. The second thing to note is that, yes, like we must follow the sprint of model Wushu, yes, to avoid reckless anger and injury caused by excessive blows. As described in the rulers, we should fighting for wisdom and courage instead of fighting for anger and fierceness. And also control for yourself and instead not for harm. So the excessive hate it also means over drinking is not allowed. Okay, the third thing we need to note is the clear hitting effect has detailed standards. We can look at this detailed description. Yes, a clear hitting effect means that the offensive technique must have sufficient speed and strength to form an obvious hitting effect. Finally, there are detailed introductions on the other 2 points, which have already been introduced before. So, okay, I won't repeat them here. Okay, above is chapter 5, about scoring and prohibit behaviors. So, through learning, maybe we already learned some standards. Next, I will introduce chapter 6 for actions and penalties. This chapter is mainly includes two articles, warning and serious warning. Okay, let's first look at what are the warnings and the penalties for warnings. First of all, we need to know that if we are warned by the chief referee, 1 point will be deducted. Here is a list of 17 situations that will be warned. Let's have a look. 8 points on this page. Yes, another 9 points here. Okay. As the basis for developing Wushu Bingdao competitions, we need to be familiar with these terms. These terms are easy to understand. I only explain some terms that may easily confuse you. For example, the second point, no competitive Bingdao technique, which means to please use the 4 basic techniques we introduced above. And also, let's see Article 6, escape or passive play the match. It means after the referee probes to attack, don't attack after 5 seconds. This article is a requirement for the attitude of participating in the competition. If the athlete is always passive aggressive, then he will be probed to attack. If there is no attack within 5 seconds after the prompt, then he will be warned after 5 seconds and deducted 1 point. Yes, we can see there are different situations will be warned, including attack the opponent's forbidden hitting part and out of borders in the fault ground. Okay, and overstrinking. Yes, including the slot was not appropriate. Applied attacks using unreasonable techniques will also be warned. This also shows the importance of technology. Also including Article 15. On the field, speaking, insulting language or make some uncivilized gestures are not allowed. Yes, totally 17 points. So please see and try to understand. Okay, let's move to next page. Okay, let's look at the serious warning part. If a serious warning is given, 2 points will be deducted from you. A serious warning has 6 clauses. Yes, we can see, okay, attack the opponent's forbidden hitting area and cause damage to opponent, and also including use illegal techniques and cause damage to opponents. Yes. The third is athlete's clothing or protective gear. It's unqualified. The referee will charge it within 3 minutes after 1 minute of timing. The fourth, yes, this is important. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Okay, the fifth, pretend to be enjoyed. It's not allowed also. Six, intentionally call it and knock down the opponent and give a serious warning. Yes, we can see that these bad behaviors, yes, are serious false. There is also a more serious fall situation. It's a fall and then fails. Of course, this mainly refers to some very serious situations. Okay, we can see there are 3 points here. So please take a look. Yes, like yes, the game cannot be continued. It's a key point. In fact, yes, in fact, this force will cause the game to not proceed normally. So these are very serious behaviors. At the same time, we also want to say these actions violate the basis sprint of the model movement. Therefore, it will be directly judged to lose. In addition, here are 9 additional explanations about above terms. Yes. So specifics about force and penalties can see the first and the second. So if you don't understand the terms explained above, these additional explanations can help you clarify further. Next, we will enter chapter 7. This section mainly introduce the composition of the referee team. Through the study of this section, you'll be able to see which referees are on the field and the responsibilities of each referee. First, let's look at Article 23. From here, we can understand the on-site referee will be composed of 1 chief referee and 3 line referees and a supervising referee. In order to ensure the fairness of the game, the chief referee, line referee, and the supervising referee cannot be from the area where the athletes of both teams are located. So, Wushu Bingdao has developed and advanced referee grouping system, and the computer system randomly assigns qualified referees to each round of competition. Okay, let's move to next. This page is all about collegiate. Yes, when obvious error occurs, the chief referee can stop the game and call a team meeting to discuss how to correct the error. Okay, let's take a look at these detailed introductions. There are 2 points we need to pay attention to. The The collegial technique can only be 2-point or 3-point scoring technique. So 1 point is not included. The chief referee may activate the video playback system when necessary according to the collegial situation. Yes, here we also need to introduce there also two video reference on the side, mainly responsible for video recording. So please have a look. There are, yes, 6 points about collegiate. Okay, let's move to next. Yes, here we also need to introduce the judgment of victory. Victory. Let's say the Article 25. Yes, it's a detailed description of the victory determination. Yes, there are mainly 5 situations. Let's see how to get victory based on different ways. The first, win by score. So at the end of the game, the winner will be determined based on the results scored by the judges. The second, win due to the opponent's the win due to a fall by the opponent. As we introduced above, so the competition will be break and continue. And let's say the fourth point, winning the extra match. So let's say if the score is the same at the end of the game time, extra match will be used to decide the winner. Okay, let's say the last one, judgment to win. So if there is still a tire in the extra match, the referee will decide the winner. Yes, we already introduced above. The 3 side reference will be judged by electronic score. Yes, you can see, you can take a look at these details. Okay, let's look at the chapter 8. The content of this chapter is relatively simple, just about the start, pause, and the termination of the game. Yes, we can take a look. Article 26, starting. So we can see before the start of the game, the athletes of both sides should stand in their corresponding starting areas. And the chief referee should stand in the penalty area. So just as an introduction above, do you remember there are 3 red blocks in middle of the field? So just for the athletes of both sides and the chief referee. The athlete, yes, the athlete makes a start gesture and follows the chief referee's start in the gesture, and the game begins. Okay. Below is a note for detailed description about starting. So please have a look. Okay, we will move to next page. Article 27, suspension. Because usually there are a higher frequency of use. So we can learn more about it. Yes, there are totally 12 clauses listed in the ruler. Okay, let's take a look at them one by one. The first, the athlete scores at the start gesture. Okay, and second, when an athlete commits a fall. Three, when the athlete is passively playing or injured. So just like this, we can see totally 8 points. Almost every break in competition, the chief referee should cause stop. Okay, suspension. So totally, for this page, there are another 4 points. So totally 12 points. Yes, let's see the notes. So when restarting the game after a pause, the chief referee must let the athletes return to a starting area to start again. Yes, just it means the athlete should back to the red block in the middle of field. After the game is suspended, the referee must restart the game within a reasonable time according to the rulers without delay. Let's see the ending. Okay, at the end of the game, the athletes must return to the starting area, and the chief referee must stand on the penalty line to announce the result, just like the starting. And also in the some case, the game will end. Let's say there are 5 different situations. The first is the game time is over. The second, abstention of one side. The three, when 4 loses. Okay, just like this. Yes, you can have a look. Okay. Above a description just about the start, suspension, and end. Okay, next, let's move to chapter 9. Yes, chapter 9, appeals. Okay, about 4 pages. So this is also the last chapter of this study, about contest appeals. Yes, the description in the ruler is very detailed, so I won't repeat it here. Also, in general, we rarely use it, but yes, I recommend that you can familiarize yourself with the details. Next, let's take a look at the referee gestures. These postures are the basis of being a qualified referee. So you can see the explanation of each actor in every page. So here, I mainly introduce the purpose of each posture. Okay, the first page, hold fist for salute. Okay, and a salute with a short weapon or with a ruler. Okay, hold a fist salute is the stand salute posture when you are not carry weapons. And also, if the referee need to give a salute. They need to salute with the ruler when they take rulers. And you can see salute with short weapon. It's used by athletes. Athletes carry weapons, and the referees carry rulers when saluting. Okay, next, athletes admission. Athletes enter the field at the start of the game, or return to venue after timeout. The chief referee will make this gesture and speak athlete admission. So please see the requirements about this posture. Okay. Next, facing the spectators salute. At the beginning of the game, the athletes need to salute to spectators. Yes, should be face the spectators. So you can see the chief referee make this posture. Yes, this is the third, facing the referee salute. Yes, after saluting the spectators, the athlete should to salute the referee. Okay, so this page, both side salute. This salute is mainly used at the beginning of the game, and also used at the end of the game. Okay. This gesture means athletes from both sides should salute each other. Okay, preparation. This is the beginning of the game. The referee should prepare for the athletes. It's also used to start again after interruption. So every time the referee needs to call out a preparation, it means the athlete should be get ready for this competition. When the chief referee make this a gesture and call out a preparation, it means the competition will be start. Okay, start and stop. Yes, I have said this before. Before the game can resume, including the start of the game and the start of interruption, the referee needs to call the start. Okay, another picture about the stop. When the game needs to be stopped for any reasons, the referee will make this gesture and call stop. Okay, start up. So you can see how to do start up. Yes, this gesture means yes, we already introduced early. Just the start up plus 1 point. It also means starting to score. The referee will add 1 point for athlete who get 1 point when starting of the competition. Okay. This picture means when one player negative attacks, the referee needs to prompt the player to attack. Okay, including the chief referee will call out red attack or blue attack. Okay, next, suspension. When the game needs to be suspended, the referee will use this gesture. Yes, and also the chief referee will call out red suspend or blue suspend. Okay, next, return to original positions. Like we introduced before, the athlete should return to the red block in the middle of the field. When the chief referee make this gesture and call out return, it means ask the athlete to return to the field. Yes, it's usually used red warning or blue warning. When a player make a foul for any reason, the referee will make a warning gesture and call out warning. Okay. You can see the one hand with ruler point the athlete, and another hand make a pole. Okay, let's say the serious warning. When a player commits a foul for any reason and leading the serious situation, the referee will make a serious warning gesture and call out a serious warning. So please note it, they are slightly different from the gesture of warning. Okay, please take a look. One, okay, so warning, so the one hand make a palm. Yes, this gesture word is used for serious warnings. Let's take a look about loss by fall. Yes, this poster is used to announce the one side loss by caused by the fall. Usually happened when some serious situation happened with the fall, the loss caused by the fall. Yeah, let's say next, red side and the blue side at the yes, this is very important. The chief referee should show how many score for different attack. Yes, you can take a look. There are three pictures. Express the judgment of 1 to 3 points. Yes, you can see above gestures are different. It's presenting different score. Please see the up head is different. The first picture, 1 point. Second, 2 fingers to show 2 points and 3 points. Okay, next, red or blue apply for video pentacle. Yes, the referee will use this gesture when a player needs a video referee. So the chief referee will make this gesture and call out red apply for video penalty or blue apply for video penalty call. Okay, let's say a tire. Yes, when the chief referee make this gesture and call out tire. Yes, it means the chief referee declare the game is tied in regular time. Yes, just make the 2 heads hold the ruler and make the ruler in the horizontal side. Overtime, it also means extra time. After a tire in a regular time, the game will go to extra time. The referee will use this gesture to announce, and then the competition will get into overtime. Okay, let's see the collegiate. When a chief referee makes this posture, it means the chief referee call other referees to participate in the collegiate meeting. Discussion about some judgment, maybe correct some mistake. Okay, judge. When there is still a tire in overtime, the referee will use this gesture to indicate the game has been ruled by the side referee. So we already introduced the early. If a keep tire in overtime, the side referee will voting to decide which one is win. Okay, next, take off the helmet. Okay, after the end of the game, the athlete should take off the helmet. So the chief referee make this gesture and call out taking off the helmet. And then athlete removed the helmet. Face spectators. After the game and take off the helmet, the athlete should turn and facing to spectators. And then, so the chief referee make this posture. After the end of the game, the referee will announce the result of the game. Let's have a look. The chief referee make this gesture and call out red win or blue win. After the results of the game are announced, the athlete should salute to the spectators. And then the athlete should salute the referee. So the chief referee call out salute, facing the referee and salute. Okay, and the next salute each other. Let's see how to make this gesture. Okay, next facing the coach of your opponent. Yes, the athlete should also salute the opposing coach. Just follow this gesture and give a salute. Okay, the last photograph, athletes exit. Yes, finally, the referee prompts the players to leave the field. Okay. The chief referee makes this gesture and call out exit. The above is a totally introduction about the Chinese Wushu Bingdao theory and the rulers. I hope help you to get some basic knowledge and hope it's helpful for you learning and participate in Chinese Wushu Bingdao. Thanks.